Hey guys, Jeremy Weiss here with Weiss Tech Hockey, and today I have a really quick drill that I want to show you. It's actually a request from Mike Hess on the Facebook fan page. He wanted a half ice cycling drill, and this is one that I've used for a number of years, and I really like it. And hopefully you guys will get some usage out of this one. But it's definitely one of my favorite cycling drills. I call it Perpetual cycling, and the name just kind of describes the drill. Once it starts, it just kind of keeps going itself perpetually. So let's pull up the drink and we'll get it going here. You can see we're going to start off with two lines at the blue line. Each line has pucks, and then just to start the drill we're going to have a ghost man. That's why I have the player with the G there. Once we get the drill going you'll see how this all works, but just to start the drill we're going to have a ghost man there. After the drill's underway you don't really need to worry about that anymore. So what's going to happen here is on the whistle the ghost man will take and fire the puck into the corner. Okay, and after he fires it in, this is just to start the drill. After he fires it in, he's going to go down, loop in, and pick it up. Okay, so after he loops in and picks it up, then he is going to start walking up the side boards. Now, the reason why I like this drill is because it simulates a lot of recurring game situations. Very often in a game, a player will find himself in the corner, and he'll have to choose whether he's going to skate down behind the net or skate up along the boards. And in some of our other videos, we've also talked about the strength of attacking through the seam. So players that attack through the seam can often get really good shots on net by using the seam. If you want a video that talks about attacking the seam, just look up on the Drills and Skills blog, look up the snake drill, and I think the inside mohawk talks about it a little bit too. So snake drill and inside mohawk drill, those will both talk about attacking through the seam. The reason why I like this is that it works on attacking through the seam, but doing a give and go through the seam, which is even better. So back to the drill. This is what's going to happen. He's going to start walking up. Now the next person in line, in fact, let me do a different color here. I'll try to, this looks a lot more confusing diagrammed out than it actually is on the ice, just because you get a lot of arrows and stuff overlapping when you diagram it. But the next guy in line is going to follow him up. Okay, so he's going to follow in, offering some backside support. And one of the things you really want to stress with your team is that it's the man receiving the puck that calls for the cycle. So it reinforces that communication that's so important in game situations. So once the second man calls for the cycle, then the first guy in will bump it back. Always make sure your players are bumping back towards the boards. The whole purpose of a cycle is you're eliminating a man. You're sucking a man in and then eliminating him with the cycle. So if you cycle back towards the middle, you're basically putting it right into the pressure that you're trying to avoid. So this guy cycles it back, a little bump off the boards. Again, you're going to want to make sure that that bump is an effective bump, that it comes off the boards and doesn't just ring down, hugging the boards along into the corner. So it's got to be able to be picked up by that second man. After the first player cycles it, then he's going to attack through the seam without the puck. Okay, now this is where you can use that mohawk. So as he's attacking through the seam, if he's on his forehand side, he's going to pick it up on his forehand. If he's on his backhand side, teach your players to open up into the mohawk and work on that one-timer. So he's going to attack through the seam, taking a proper angle that he can do a good one-timer. In fact, I didn't really draw this all that well. If you're really wanting to take a good angle, what I would recommend, assuming if this is a four-handed shot, so right-handed in this case, come out a little bit higher of an angle and then drive down towards that far post. That's going to give you a better angle on that one-timer shot if you're on your forehand. The player that picks up the cycle, is going to step out. Okay, and like I said, this is getting a little confusing with a lot of overlapping arrows, but once the drill is underway, it's really straightforward. And he's going to fire that pass across for the one-time shot. Okay, so that's the first phase of this drill. Let me just make sure I got the right color here. Okay, so he's going to fire the one-time shot on net. Now, I've got some stuff popping up on my screen here. One second while I get this taken care of. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. So once that one-time shot has been taken, then the player who shots just goes back to the back of the line. The player that received the cycle is now going to do this. He comes up and around, basically kind of following his pass, and he's going to go down into the other corner. Now, as that pass is being made, the pass out in front, the next guy in the other line is going to dump a puck into the corner. And you can probably start guessing exactly what's going to happen now. So the player that just made the outlet pass and received the cycle in the first phase of this now goes in, picks up the puck, and he's going to start walking up the boards, just like the other side. The player that dumped it in fact, we'll give this guy a different color just to try to keep it as straightsforward as possible. In fact, let me give him, let's see, I'll give him an orange. The player that dumped it in will now come in and provide backside support for the player who's about to give the cycle. Okay, so as soon as the player calls for the cycle, the player receiving the cycle calls for it, then that player, the puck carrier, can bump it back, a little bump off the boards so it's easy to pick up, and then in case you didn't guess, he's going to attack the seam. Okay, and skate straight through. Okay. Now, again, depending on whether he shoots forehand or backhand, that angle might change a little bit, so it gives him a good angle for a one-time shot. If he's on his forehand, he wants to take a little bit higher of an angle and be driving down straight towards that weak post. If he's on his backhand, then he should be opening up into a mohawk and presenting himself as an option opened up so that he can take a one-time shot on his forehand side. So, just to continue on so that we're clear on everything, the player that just dumped it in picks it up, walks out in front a little bit, and then fires that pass out again for the one-time shot. Okay, and we'll make sure that we just finish off with the shot there. And then just to keep in line with the perpetual part of this drill, the player who just passed it out in front, and he continues up and around, and the next player in the first line has already dumped a puck into the corner, and the player that just received the cycle on this side is now going to receive it, or pick up the puck and cycle on the other side. So that's a perpetual cycle drill. Looks a lot more complicated on paper than it actually is in real life, but again, this is one of my favorites. So Mike, hopefully you enjoy this, and everybody else, I think you guys will get a little bit of mileage out of this one. This one's really been good for me over the years, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Thanks.